And we are back.
We're back.
ChiroThon. Yes, we are. We're back in 2026 for ChiroThon. This is going to be an incredible experience all weekend long. And we're happy that you're with us. As a reminder, we will be here today and tomorrow. So if you're here in Kansas City, stop by. We're live and we love to have you with us. But we're also streaming virtually, so you can see a full list of this weekend's guests. Perhaps you want to rewatch a few other ChiroThons because there's so many fantastic guests. One of my favorites, Elaine Lelaine, Jack LaLanne's wife. So while you're sitting there, contemplate giving back to people around you. When you give, you get so much back. And that is by going to f4cp.org/ChiroThon.
Talk about a legend. Was he not just amazing?
100%.
I remember as a kid watching him swimming, towing like 800 boats, swimming through a crowd. Well, I don't know whether he was swimming, but it was just like, are you kidding me? This guy's swimming at age 80 and he's pulling boats behind him.
Yes.
That was like unbelievable.
I literally met somebody a week ago through our friends who was like, she trained underneath him when he was at the gym. And just the stories, everybody that I've ever met that knew him, and they didn't realize he was a chiropractor.
Yeah.
But like everybody that he touched, their lives were changed. And that's what this event's about, right?
100%.
Now, this next vignette's sponsored by one of our sponsors, Foot Levelers. Foot Levelers is a world-leading provider of handcrafted flexible orthotics. Now, they're committed to advancing health and wellness since 1952. Their custom orthotics are uniquely designed to support 3 arches of the foot, offering a whole body support. They promote optimal alignment and well-being by providing a balanced, symmetrical foundation. For more information, visit footlevelers.com or connect with them on their socials. Now, let's check out their ad.
The way you move is unique. Shouldn't your orthotic be? Over-the-counter insoles provide ineffective support. The foot will continue to get flatter with age and routine activities like walking, potentially leading to pain in the knees, hips, and back, even if there's no foot pain. Foot Leveler's custom orthotics are designed to address your unique biomechanics and restore natural, healthy function of all 3 arches of the foot, stabilizing the entire body. To learn more about custom 3-arch support, visit Foot Levelers online today at footlevelers.com.
And we're back. So I gotta be honest with you. The next guest that we have, he's sitting with me right now. I have been trying to figure out how to meet this man. If you're a sports chiropractor, you're somebody in performance, you know his name, is Dr. Mladenoff. He goes by Dr. M. I know a lot of chiropractors around the world. I train with them, I train for them, I train them, but this is a man that has changed the game. I'm excited to have him here today because he's going to change how you look at the body, how you look at the nervous system, and more importantly, how you look at your life.
You're absolutely right, Sean. We're so grateful to have you. Dr. M is an internationally recognized chiropractor and sports medicine consultant with decades of experience, helping people really achieve performance and optimal health. He is based right here in Overland Park, Kansas, and he's one of the few chiropractors to have served as a team physician for both professional and Olympic athletes in 2 countries. Dr. M's whole person approach goes way beyond just treating symptoms, focusing instead on uncovering the root causes and creating the right conditions for lasting wellness. Now, his expertise has supported world-class performers from the NFL to the MLB and teams along the way, like Olympic athletes, and even at the National Ballet of Canada. Let me tell you, those ballerinas are true athletes. Now, today, he brings the same high-performance strategies to every patient he touches, empowering them to achieve superior health and resilience. We're so grateful. Thank you for being with us, Dr. M, today.
It's so awesome to be here, and you're right in my backyard. My clinic is literally a half mile from where we're sitting.
So we could run to his clinic for a treatment afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds good, right?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Well, Dr. M, tell us a little bit about what brought you into this profession, and then how did you get so engaged in treating high-level performers like MLB and NFL?
I got the Olympic virus as a young kid with my first coach, and I got a scholarship to go to the Canadian Military Academy. And I developed shin splints. And nobody could help my shin splints, including the head trainer of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who was a friend of my coach's. And nobody could help me, so I lost the scholarship until a patient, customer of my dad's, said, you need to take your boy to see my chiropractor. And I had to literally go across town on a streetcar system, and this was, we're talking late 60s. And before Nixon went to China, this doctor stuck needles in my legs and yanked on my knee, yanked on my hip, And within weeks, my shin splints went away. And I said, I think I want to do that. And to this day, I'm really good at shin splints. And so that framed is like, okay, nobody is going to lose a scholarship for an athletic event because of an injury. Somebody has the answer, and maybe I can have the answer for you. And that's kind of what framed everything. Then fast forward, the reason why I got into concussions was my 2-year-old daughter wanted to see her dad coming home from lecturing, and mom was holding her. She lunged out of mom's hands. Mom wasn't ready, dad wasn't ready. The baby fell, hit her head on the pavement at 2 years old. So now it's at my front door. What am I going to do for my child? Mm-hmm. Well, we figured out what to do, and fast forward to my wife is chaperoning my son going to a hockey tournament. He's age 10. I was with the Chiefs, so I couldn't go. They're on a bus. They come back home. There was black ice a mile from home. The bus is going on a down ramp. They went out of control. My wife's face planted into the back of the plexiglass behind the driver. 7 facial fractures. She did not have any vision problems, but it was bad. It's like, okay, it's at my front door. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this? My son played Division I men's college hockey. He had 3 subconcussive events. He didn't tell anybody. Why? He wanted to play. Mm-hmm. Not even his old man. He didn't even tell. And I know everything. I've seen every step the child has taken. I couldn't see it because he did a good job hiding it. Well, fast forward to 2017. I'm pedaling my bicycle at high speed, going about 25 miles an hour. A guy runs a stop sign, plows me over. My head bounced off the pavement 3 times. I had 11 fractures in my helmet. And like, okay, what do you do now? Well, the good news is we had developed protocols for treating concussions, starting with my own family. Within 15 minutes, my son was there starting all our concussion protocols. So that's the short answer why I'm in the rabbit hole of concussions. And you know what? There are people that have concussions. More people have concussions from non-athletic events than they do in athletic events.
It's true. And that's a really good reason why someone would want to learn more about concussions. Wouldn't you agree, Dr. Drake?
I think it's definitely one thing that's overlooked right now. I think we, so often it's like, oh, an athlete gets concussed. But we don't realize, how often looking at your screen, the micro-concussions, the emotional concussion, the mental concussion. And right now we're living in the most stressed out society we've ever been. And when we look at chiropractic, it takes that sympathetic dominance, puts it into parasympathetic to where we can actually help the body heal and train. I think that's what we're going to talk about with you today specifically. And then obviously we have an NFL player coming on the next segment. But I want to talk about the person who's not the athlete, because so often I've always said, and Bill Bowerman coined this, that if you have a body, you're an athlete. I want you guys out there watching that life is the sport. You have to train for it. Doc, any thoughts on that?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is, for our aging population, for some people, going to the bathroom is an athletic event. Mm-hmm. And if you have not taken care of yourself for your entire life, these people struggle to just get up and go to the bathroom. And so don't give me this, you're not an athlete. A great friend of mine, Phil Maffetone, wrote a book called Everyone is an Athlete a long time ago. He's the guy that started the heart monitoring business to develop your exercise profile and all those good things. And that was one of the things he said, is like, okay, you need to develop the ability to deliver oxygen to your brain to sustain your life as long as possible. So how can you do that? I can help you do that. And I know Dr. Drake does a lot of that in his practice too, but that is like super paramount in dealing with concussions too.
So when we're dealing with concussions, many of our consumers out there, they know the word, they don't really know all the symptoms, and they don't really know what to do. And there are protocols out there, like 7 to 10 day protocols that people have been told that this is what you need to look for, this is what you need to do. Can you tell us, like, starting from the basics, so the average person who's with us on the weekend, and we thank you for being here, so they know what really is the basics of concussion. And then what have you learned over the course of your time, especially since you have done a fabulous job of writing a book on it? What would you want them to know from the beginning as we move this conversation forward?
Well, the first thing is, if in doubt, go to ER. Don't think about it, just go to ER. Do not minimize any head trauma. The purpose of ER is to rule out life-threatening conditions. Now, the problem is also that that's all they do. Once they've figured out you're not going to die on their watch, they say, okay, go home, you're good, right? So there are 5 injuries that occur in every concussion, and I'm going to simplify this, but the first injury is there is a neuroinflammation cascade that happens within seconds. The second thing is there's a metabolic cascade, which is different than the inflammatory cascade. Third thing is there's a vestibular injury of some kind. Fourth is there's a neck injury or cervical spine injury of some kind. Okay, and then the fifth is that there's a pituitary injury to your hormonal system. So the problem is in ER, they don't examine any of that stuff.
Right.
When you go to the concussion experts, they don't examine any of that stuff. You have to have all 5 of those areas examined. Now here's another problem. It's like in ER, they don't tell you that a year from now, the average 30-year-old may have problems with erectile dysfunction because of a concussion. The average person may still have symptoms 2 years after the concussion. And they blow it off because within 30 days, if the pain's not going away, okay, you got to live with it. The other problem with ER is we're now down this rabbit hole of technology where we had a patient that came in, we treated her young daughter, she calls about 2 years later, my son had a concussion, he's 8 years old, they found him in the playground, he's got blood coming out of his ear. I said, go to ER. She said, what? I said, if he has a brain bleed, it could be coming out of his ear, you need to go to ER. She goes to ER, and what happens is the resident is standing there, reading from his phone, asking a list of questions, never looked at the patient and said, okay, you're okay, you don't need a CT or an MRI, you don't need any imaging. He never looked at the patient, never touched the patient, never examined the patient. That's scary. That's an ER department. This person lives 3 hours away from us. So I said, okay, you know what? If you can get here, we can send you across the street. We can get you in to get an MRI within 24 hours with this group. They're really great. They really help us out. So ER, if in doubt, go. You need to rule out there's no life-threatening emergency. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, they don't have all the answers. They just need to rule out you're not going to die. And after that, you need to get help. Do not minimize this. Do not blow it off.
I think it's so many people nowadays too, is that they're so hesitant, right? They're so hesitant to show up or admit they have a problem. And I think especially when it comes to our athletes, like they don't want you to know. They're gonna do their best. And the cool thing is, one thing is they're so trained to be able to perform that they can get around it sometimes. And it's so important, that's why like when we see our players, we see them weekly, and we're gonna talk about that with Will and some of our clients that we share together. But when you see them on a regular basis, you know their system. And you know they can't hide it from you. Like, we're gonna challenge your body. We're gonna know if your nervous system's safe, if it can perform. And one of the things we'll talk about later on in this segment is how we can tell if you're ready to perform or if you actually have a dis-ease, right? So if you're in dysregulation, we're gonna help you perform better. That being said, I think one of the things that I wanna ask you is, we talked a little bit earlier, but like micro and macro. Like everything's traumatic. Talk about some of the things that people out there right now might not realize is causing concussion.
Oh my goodness, I don't know if we have enough time. So let me pick my top 2. So the first would be is people get sound sensitive and light sensitive after head trauma. And they will blow it off because they might have been light sensitive their whole life. So and this is especially true of our lady patients. I'll ask them, I'll say, does bright light bother your eyes? And they're sitting there and they have sunglasses on the top of their head like this. And I said, okay, let me rephrase the question. Can you go outside without those sunglasses on your head? They have to be, oh, I can't go outside without, so they minimize things. They will blow it off and pretend like it's not there because they can get through the day with just the bright light bothering them. Or you know what, yeah, I roll the windows up. Or you know, when we go to concerts, I always sit in the back row, so if the noise is too loud, I can get out, right? So they minimize these microscopic things. But you know, that's a huge red flag, and there's a new word, I know you know this word, Doc, but it's called dysautonomia. And simply what that word means is that the silent operating system of your body, starting with your brain down to your pinkies, is not functioning properly. There's something gone wrong. And you know what? It only has to be off 1%. So here's what I like about athletes, professional athletes. Athletes say, you know what, if I take a day off, I know I'm not right. If I take 2 days off, my opponent and competitors know I'm off. If I take 3 days off, then the people in the seats in the stands know I'm off. And that's how finely tuned professional athletes are. They know when they're 1% off. And so if I can help an athlete not be at 110%, not 99%, that's the difference between hitting 400 in a baseball season for hitting 290. That's like, what's the difference of that? About, what, 100 million a year?
I was gonna say, when it comes to WAR, and for those of you out here, you may not know this, but stats are really important in professional sports. And one of the things that agents and teams look at is, number one, those stats to create what they're going to pay. And so a lot of our athletes, like, we're making sure that they stay on the field, because if they don't stay on the field, that affects their paycheck. And it's not about money, it's about legacy.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I tell all my professional athletes, especially my young minor leaguers, I'm like, we're going to get you there, but when you get there, this is life-changing money for your family and for your legacy. And that's really what it's about, because in the NFL, I mean, it's 2.5 years now, average guy. It used to be 3.5. And so that you have 2.5 years that you got to think, okay, I got to be my best, and the best of the best, they can stay on longer if they've got the right team. And that's what this whole entire segment's about.
It is, and I want to ask you, so we can bring our consumers in, because we had some questions in regards to this. Is we now know we have the micro and the macro types of concussions. Many people still don't understand, aside from the sensitivity. You went into a whole litany, 5 particular, of what needs to be checked. Can you give them, I know symptoms become part of what the average consumer knows is something's wrong. Little Johnny hit his head, and like your 2-year-old, like 2-year-olds don't tell you, hey, my ears are ringing, and 2-year-olds don't tell you I have problems with the light. Yeah. Tell us a little bit from a consumer's perspective, how do they know that it's a concussion? And then aside from getting help, there's so many myths out there that they've been told that they're like, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. Help our consumers know the symptoms and know what to do, aside from just getting to the right physician at the right time.
Well, the first thing that anybody should do, whether it's on center field in an NFL game on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, or it's in your backyard or at school on a playground, is called ocular convergence. And that will tell you if there's something going on, and also how long it will take for the concussion to get better. So hopefully we can do this. So all you do is you start about 6 inches away from the person, okay? And so you're gonna, okay, bring to the nose and see, okay, can they hold that like that, right? So now what you'll see in these people is that their eyes should do this, and should be able to stay there for at least 30 seconds. Some people, that one eye may not be able to come in. It may come in, then it may drift out, right? If they can't bring it in, now, if they have a pre-existing ocular condition, parents will always say, oh yeah, they've never been able to do that. So now you have to filter that. But if you've never had any of that, okay, 2 things. If they cannot converge or stay there, okay, that's telling you 2 things. There's been some insult to the brain, okay? And then second is, the faster they cannot do it. That's a double entendre, isn't it? It's like, and they can't do it, no matter how many times you do it or how slow you do it, they can't do it, right? That means it's going to take a long time for this to get better, right? They may not have any symptoms at all, but we're talking about functions of the eye. So now let's go to the NFL. And we did this with our guest we're going to have on. He played right guard, so he's sitting there. Every time he looks at the center, his eyes have to do this. Well, what happens if his eyes can't do that when he turns? That means when he turns to look at his opponent, his eyes are doing weird stuff and he cannot see what's in front of him from the simple act of just turning to see, has the center snapped them all, am I lined up in the right place? Fast forward, what do golfers do every time they putt?
Their heads, I mean.
They do this with their eyes. They look down at the ball like this, then they turn their head, they look at where they want to go, so they're doing this with their eyes. What happens if their eyes can't do that? How many professional golfers have had a concussion? Let's assume none of them. How many of them can do this and have their eyes stay and do that? Can we do this?
Sure.
Okay, so if you're a golfer, this is really cool. So I want you to do this test. Can I stand up?
Yeah,
Please.
of course.
Okay, so what you're going to do is pretend you're looking at your ball, right? And you're going to focus here, okay? Can you stand back, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so now look where you want to go. Let's just say it's a putt because you might be in the house. So point to where you think the hole is and just put down an object. Okay, focus on it, okay? Okay, now close your eyes, put your hand down, keep your eyes closed, and from memory, point to where you think the hole is, okay? And then open your eyes and look. I'd be willing to bet 7 out of 10 of you people watching right now, you're missing the target. So what do you think that's going to do to your golf game? You need to get to a chiropractor that can help you deal with the function of your eyes and your brain, because if you can't do this, your golf game is going to suck.
Okay, so now
Right?
we know the golf game is going to suck. You got a lot going on
I'm
here.
gonna grab this here.
And one of the things that when we go through concussions and we hear about them, so many misnomers are out there. One of them is if you've had a concussion and you didn't get treatment right away, it doesn't matter, that you're just going to be like that forever. Blow up that misbelief.
I had a new patient literally 2 weeks ago that was referred by one of the doctors that's at the seminar here. A dear friend of his, she's had 23 car accidents.
Wow.
The most recent one, she was riding her bicycle with her grandchild, and a car cut them off, and she face planted head first into the side of the car. This lady has had immeasurable suffering, migraine headaches, bright lights bothering her eyes, sound bothering her eyes, and everything. And so it took us 4 days to examine her. So we normally if we did everything we could do on a concussion patient, it takes 4 hours. It took us 4 days because we didn't want to fatigue her brain and cause her more problems. Well, the first thing I asked her is, I said, okay, if this was your first concussion and this happened last week, the first thing I'd say to you is no more than 30 minutes of time on a cell phone, in front of a computer, or anything else. 30 minutes a day
Say that again.
maximum.
Say that again.
Okay, if you've had any head trauma, no more than 30 minutes in a day, not at a time, in a day. And her husband's like hitting her, and I said, okay, fess up. I said, I'm not a priest, but you need to confess now. and that is, he says, she's on this thing constantly. I said, well, okay, I can do wonderful things for you, but if you're not willing to put down your cell phone, I can't help. So you got to decide, do you love your headaches? Do you love the bright lights? Do you love your life miserably so much that you have to keep this thing in your hand? And oh, by the way, kids, do not sleep with a cell phone under your pillow. It still is going on and off. So you got this electromagnetic radiation and electricity banging on your brain that is all messed up after the head trauma. You need to have, and this is true of everybody, even if you've never had a concussion, put the cell phone at least 10 feet away from your head at nighttime, because it's communicating with the towers, whether you're talking to anybody or texting or doing anything. It's like talking. And so that electromagnetic pollution, that micro stuff, okay, so I'd be willing to say, if I did that 4-hour brain exam on everybody, and if you spend more than 30 minutes on your cell phone a day, you have brain problems, because it messes up your brain. And so you could have this is a stretch of the terminology, but you could have an electromagnetic concussion. You don't have to bang your head to mess up your brain.
You know, and that's what you said, is you were going through, this woman has had so many different injuries, and I'd love to say everybody should be putting their cell phones away for a given period of time for your own mental health and well-being, and to find your own breath and reality. But back to where you are, she's had so many. Was there help? Like, so many of us are losing hope. How does she then relate? And have you seen those patients that have had multiple concussions really come out of this, even from the emotional standpoint?
Absolutely. Here's one of the mantras that I like, and that is, inch by inch, recovery's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's really hard. Mile by mile, it takes a while. So let's just worry about the next hour. Let's worry about the next day. Let's not worry about the next 10 years of your life. It's like, okay, we need to get you to be, and with this lady, literally 2 days ago was the last time I saw her, she's gone 2 hours without pain for the first time in decades.
That's a win.
And that's a miracle.
That's a massive win.
Right? And then I said to her, now, how long are you going to spend on your phone today? And she looked at me, I said, do you like how you feel now, or do you like how you felt before you started coming here? So, like, pick one. You forgive me, but you can't suck and blow at the same time on a straw. Pick one.
Can I say something to this? Because there's been a huge change from our next guest, Will, in the league, and our guys we got in the league now on tech. And it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Gaming on the phone. We see it in the clubhouses. Some clubhouses are banning it now. What have you seen? Because you've been in this for a long time. Like, you're one of the experts in, like, the GOATs. What are you seeing now with our younger guys coming up, and the differences in their nervous systems and their ability to adapt?
Oh my.
It's some advice that we would give.
Some of them start going through withdrawal if their phone is more than an arm length away. So if I have them on my treatment table and it buzzes, I said, okay, here's the deal. Okay, you need to do what I do. I've got special ringtones so that when my phone rings, I know exactly who it is and who it's not. So obviously, if it's my kids, I want to answer it in case it's an emergency. If it's so we all have that, right?
That's a really good idea.
It's easy to do. My kids taught me how to do that.
Teach me.
I know how to do that now. Okay, but the point is, like, I tell them, I said, okay, if you are incapable of putting down your phone for the half hour you're with me, it's like, I can't help you. It's like, you need to devoid you need to be present with me right now. and turn off everything else in your life. And I know these guys have 10,000 things coming at them every minute of every day. But I said, you need to give me a half hour of your undivided neurological attention. You don't have to think about anything, but I don't want you doing anything else. That is dramatically changed, and the kids are even worse.
Yeah.
We're talking about, I had this, oh my goodness, this young child, 10 years old, and her diagnosis coming from her medical doctor was dysautonomia. So the medical doctor was attuned to that, okay? But I'm sitting there and examining her, and I had to stop partway through, and her mom and her dad are sitting in the exam room. They're on their cell phones. They never even watched me examine her child. So now, how is that child going to learn anything different when all they see is mom and dad on the cell phones 24/7, 366? And so it is like obnoxious. We need to punt some of these phones in the deep ocean.
Yes, we do. And today is Saturday. So can you go through a 30-second reprieve from your phone, then go to 3 minutes, then go to 15 minutes, and then you're at 30 minutes? There's a lot of you right now that are thinking, oh, that's a piece of cake. I do want to say, if you want to be better, you have to do better. And so ask yourself how long you can go without checking your phone, and really see where we are in that connection level. I mean, that's a real piece. I know we're talking about concussions, but we got to start somewhere.
Here's something fun to do. So if you go out with friends and you have dinner, you say, okay, everybody put your cell phone in the middle of the table. First one that picks up the cell phone pays the tab for the whole table.
Love it.
I love that.
And it's like all of a sudden everybody's saying, oh, I wonder who it is. Like, okay, but if you don't have those special ringers set up, guess what? You're probably picking up the tab for dinner, and guess what? I'm ordering a big old 3-liter bottle of wine, and I'm going to order caviar.
Caviar.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have a rule in our clinic. I have lockers, and at first the guys were really frustrated with me because like, yeah, but now they understand it. And I gamify things, right? Like especially with kids, we have to gamify it. And when you've got a lot of the kids that Doc sees and I see, they come in, they're iPad dependent.
Oh.
And so when you take it away, they go into crazy frantic, right?
They do.
So we use a lot of modalities in our clinic to calm their nervous system down. We gamify it with vibration and tone. And so I do that same thing when I send them home. I'm like, hey, here's a breathing buddy. Here's this. And so what we do is we train them outside the clinic to be calm in the clinic. And that's how we have to be in the world right now. We have to disassociate from this dopamine drop and change the physiology. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you go through your day in a chiropractic office, how often would you say there are undiagnosed concussions after you've taken a history? Because as I was going through my practice, I was like, well, did you get treatment for your concussion? And they're like, no, I didn't want to tell anyone. And that is a very common thing. How often do you think you see it, and even when the patients don't want to tell you?
It depends on the doctor's curiosity. Like, is the doctor curious about taking care of their patient? Do you want to take care of the patient for just this particular problem, or do you want to help this person with their journey through life and help them be the best person they can be? And I know you have both kinds of patients. I do too. But you know what? It's the old story. All you can do is throw up the soft pitch, and who's going to take it? And some people start out and say, Doc, just got a crick in my neck, just take care of that. Well, then about 8 weeks later, they come back and say, well, the crick in my neck's back. And I say, well, remember we talked about ABCD that could be a potential cause or an exacerbate, make you worse. They said, do you think we should maybe do that, or you want me to just smack you a couple times and you'll be gone in a couple of days and you'll be good? I said, you know what? I'd much prefer you do that, because you'll spend a lot more money in my office using me as an emergency care physician than if I took care of you for a year. So please don't now you have to pick your spot, what patient to say that to, but it's like some people you have to go, come on, like this is not complicated, but if you want to spend a lot of money in my place for Band-Aid care, I'm okay with that.
And I'm the opposite. I tell them this isn't your clinic, and I refer.
Oh, I do that too. Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
I literally refer people out. I'm like, look, if you're only here for pain, because our exam's pretty detailed. And what's cool is when you video a client and you show them how bad their eye movement is, you show them that they can't get up on their toes, that they can't balance, and how they look when they're in any type of movement, that connects it. Because now I can be like, here's the deal, you can't even get up on your toes and you have neck pain? No wonder. Like, you have no ability to even know where you're at. So if you have no sensory, think of what that's doing in your life, in your business, and everything else you're doing.
So now fast forward that to a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Some of them don't know that.
And the minute they see it, they're like, here's my credit card.
You know,
Yes.
but not all of them are like that.
No.
You're going to have this in professional sports. You have the same mindset as you do in regular everyday. Some pages get me out of. I can give you a guy who was in the Hall of Fame, played for the Chiefs. Never saw him once. Always saw him in the locker room. He was the first guy there. Why? Because he didn't have to pay and he knew better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as we wrap this segment up, one of the things in short order, we just got a few seconds left, is give our audience today that's listening the last word on someone's had a concussion, they're getting help. Where's the hope?
First thing is, okay, wherever you're at, did they examine the 5 areas of injury? Your neck, inflammation, metabolic problems, your vestibular system, and your pituitary gland. If they did not examine all 5 areas, you need to ask them why not, and if they don't know how to do it, then you need to find somebody that can, right? So, can I
Please.
tell them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
I'm going to sign
Yes,
this for
yes.
Dr. Sean,
Awesome.
but we're going to start a program, and it's called the Concussion Recovery Blueprint, and we've trademarked that name, so we're going to have answers for people and a group of
For you.
doctors across the country where you can get the doctors who can do all the things that we talk about in the book. And oh, by the way, if they're going to donate to the ChiroThon, I want to give them a free copy of the book. So
All right, you heard it right here.
So the first 5 donations,
Yes.
okay?
First 5.
In this segment.
Special guest on this segment will get a signed copy by Dr. M today.
Okay, so what's your moniker? They call me Dr. M. What do they call you?
Dr. Drake.
Dr. Drake.
There we go. A first signing for Dr. Drake. I want to thank each and every one of you today for joining this segment. You learned a lot about concussion, and you know now that there's hope. If you've had a concussion, don't sit without care. There's hope for you, and that's how you're going to cope. You're going to get better, you're going to do better, you're going to have better, because when you walk with someone who knows the road and all of the pieces that go with it are so important.
And I think the big thing too is educate yourself. And I definitely recommend that you pick up this book. I'm getting a whole box of them because I can already tell you 4 clients when I get home I'm going to give it to you, because I'm always trying to explain it. The information's out there. We've got experts. So make sure during this whole segment, everything that we're doing, look up these people. Now I want to say thanks again for your time out of your schedule to join us today. I don't want you to go away because we're going to be having an amazing guest, Will Shields, on. NFL player, ton of time in the league. I mean, I can go down the list of everything this man's done, and he's Dr. M is one of the main reasons for it. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. And now, before you go, I want to share a message from one of our outstanding
Thanks, Doc.
sponsors, Foot Levelers.
The way you move is unique. Shouldn't your orthotic be? Over-the-counter insoles provide ineffective support. The foot will continue to get flatter with age and routine activities like walking, potentially leading to pain in the knees, hips, and back, even if there's no foot pain. Foot Levelers custom orthotics are designed to address your unique biomechanics and restore natural, healthy function of all 3 arches of the foot, stabilizing the entire body. To learn more about custom 3-arch support, visit Foot Levelers online today at footlevelers.com.